Carrying on with railway news, platforms rejig, now Sefton faces rail delays. This is from the Liverpool Echo. What date was that? Friday, January the 18th, and it's an article by Kate Lally. Rail commuters living in Sefton can expect their journeys to and from work to take a lot longer next month. Major work to upgrade Merseyrail platforms will mean closures and replacement buses between Southport and Liverpool. Phase 6 of the upgrade work will start on Southport Line on Saturday, February the 2nd. People who live in Southport but work in the city centre can expect to see their morning commute take as long as an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 2 minutes longer than usual. Those living in Formby can expect their journey to the city centre to take up to an hour and 23 minutes compared with the usual 25-minute train journey. And the journey from Seaforth and Litherland to Moorfields is expected to jump from 17 minutes to as much as 40 minutes. The Southport line upgrades will happen in 2 stages. Stage 1, between Saturday, February the 2nd and Sunday, February the 10th, rail replacement buses will run between Southport and Hall Road stations. From Monday to Friday, between 06:28 and 19:43, trains will run between Hunts Cross and Formby, but will not call at Hightown. Passengers can be bound aboard a rail replacement bus service at Formby Station, which will call at all stations to and from Southport. At all other times, trains will run between Hunts Cross and Hall Road. Passengers can board a rail replacement bus service at Hall Road Station, which will call at all stations to and from Southport. As well as regular rail replacement buses stopping at all affected stations, express buses will run between selected stations Mondays to Saturdays. As part of the works, Merseyrail said Ainsdale Level Crossing will be closed during all or some of these dates, which may result in the rail replacement bus stop being relocated. And Stage 2, between Monday, February the 11th and Sunday, February the 24th, rail replacement buses will run between Formby and Moorfields. As well as regular rail replacement buses stopping at all affected stations, express buses will run between selected stations Monday to Saturday. Trains will continue to run between Sandhills and Liverpool stations. If you are travelling on the Southport line and wish to change onto the Ormskirk or Kirby lines, please change onto a train at Sandhills station. Between February the 11th to the 17th, Hall Road rail replacement bus service may be affected by a possible closure of Hall Road level crossing. Any changes will be confirmed nearer the time, and if you use any of these railways, we'll keep you updated.
Service levels are nothing to do with lack of bus lanes. Controversial scrapping raised by MPs, but chiefs say roadworks to blame. And this is an article by Tom Horton in the Echo, Monday, January the 21st. Bus operators, Arriva and Stagecoach, refused to blame the scrapping of bus lanes, as they revealed recent performance in Liverpool had declined. Quizzed by MPs on how the region's services are run, bosses said that average running times, the time it takes for a bus to get around its route, in the city are up 15 to 20% in the past 5 years. But both refused to blame it directly on Mayor Anderson's 2014 decision to cut 26 bus lanes down to 4. Instead, they put the statistic down to the number of roadworks in the city, also claiming the past year had been the worst in a long time in terms of closures and disruption. The chiefs of the area's Stagecoach and Arriva services called for council's highway services to be made more accountable when it comes to the numbers of buses leaving on time. The public evidence session by the House of Commons Transport Committee took place last week at Man Island, led by Lillian Greenwood MP. When discussing how buses have fared in Liverpool over the past 5 years, Miss Greenwood and her fellow elected representatives kept coming back to Mayor Anderson's decision. Chair Miss Greenwood, who is MP for Nottingham South, said, "It's not going to be lost on any of us that Liverpool was the place where they removed bus lanes. That attracted a lot of attention." Graham Morris, MP for Easington in Durham, pressed further, asking, "What should we be telling the Department of Transport in terms of their guidance of bus priority measures?" It goes back to 1997 departmental advice. Is it out of date? Should the committee be saying it's no longer fit for purpose? Should they take a different approach? Howard Farrell, Regional Managing Director of Arriva Merseyside, who was sitting alongside Rob Jones, Stagecoach Merseyside's Regional Managing Director, responded by saying technology had moved on so much that there are now other ways to reduce delays. He added, "There are solutions out there. It's not only about having dedicated bus lanes. It's a mixture of everything. There's not one thing that fits all. Different solutions for different bus corridors." The meeting heard that certain innovative schemes, such as priority for late-running buses, were currently being looked at. Mayor Anderson said in 2017, years after the decision was taken, that with fines handed out for driving in the lanes, it was wrong to use motorists as cash cows, and that the majority of lanes simply didn't work. It was found in an independent review that they only offered marginal benefits to passengers. The council said on Friday those views held firm, but also revealed there was work ongoing to better manage the roads and ease delays, including the priority for late-running services.
Right, I have a picture here which is taken by David Croft of the Wirral, showing a blue Honda car parked in a bus lane, and it looks to me as if it's also a bus stop, and the story relates to that. There's also a pixelated picture of the two men who were inside this car. This is an article by Liam Thorpe on January the 18th, Friday. Two members of the controversial Kingdom Litter Squad were spotted parking illegally while out looking for offenders. The litter officers continue to be a hotly debated topic in Wirral, where they are the council's chosen company for dishing out fixed penalty notices, FPNs, for littering and dog fouling. Kingdom have regularly been accused of using unsavoury tactics in their pursuit of fines, behaviour that led Liverpool Mayor Joe Anderson to scrap his contract with the firm at the end of last year. Recently, the Echo published a video which appeared to show a Birkenhead grandmother being followed and blocked by Kingdom officers. Now another clip has been shared online showing what happened when a member of the public stumbled across two Kingdom officers parked illegally in Clawton Road, Prenton last weekend. That member of the public was David Croft, who happens to run the Wirral Against the Litter Police Facebook page. He explained, "On Saturday, I was walking along Clawton Road just by the B&M store. Whilst walking, I noticed a car parked not only in a bus lane within restricted hours, but also parked on the zigzag lines at a pedestrian crossing. I walked past and just shook my head in dismay in the direction of the passenger window. It was then I realised this was not just any random members of the public putting pedestrians' lives at risk and causing a bus full of passengers to veer out of the bus lane. It was two of Kingdom's revenue generators in their work vehicle. This is a crime under the Road Traffic Act. David pointed out to the Kingdom officers that they were parked in a bus lane and they quickly drove away. He posted a video of the incident in his campaign group, and naturally a lot of people were pretty angry. One member said, even pulled out in front of the bus that was pulling out to go round them. But overtaking on zigzags is illegal, so they're forcing others to break the law so they can make a few bob. Another asked, seriously, why is Wirral Council letting this happen? If this was general public, we'd be fined for being parked up there. Why is it one rule for them and another for others? Questions have also been asked about the behaviour and attitudes of Kingdom staff in Wirral before. In November, the Echo published leaked WhatsApp chats between officers, which joked about kicking children in the head and exposed the relentless, target-driven culture for handing out fines within the team. Kingdom has said it will investigate the matter.
Friday, January the 18th. Driver's confusion after traffic lights failure by Rachel McMenemy. Ooh, that's hard to say. A driver has told of the chaos and confusion on East Lancashire Road after traffic lights reportedly failed. Emma Chadwick nearly saw a car get wiped out at the junction and assumed it had jumped a red light. But after seeing the speed of other cars at the junction, she said it almost seemed like all the lights turned green at the same time. Miss Chadwick told the Echo, "I was driving. I assumed the other car jumped the red light as everyone looked confused. No one was driving slowly as you would if the lights were out." Just 10 minutes after Miss Chadwick drove through the junction at East Lancs Road and Cooper's Lane, 2 cars crashed at 2 p.m, sending 3 people to hospital. Firefighters had to free 1 person from their car by sawing the roof off. Initial reports said 3 cars were involved, but Merseyside police said the incident, which blocked the junction, involved a Ford Cougar and a Fiat Punto. It was reported the traffic lights at the junction in Kirby failed after a power cut yesterday morning. Traffic Information Service, INRIX, reported that the Manchester-bound carriageway was still shut by 8 p.m. after both cars had been recovered.
2 articles about our new Metropolitan Mayor, who seems often to be missing when he's asked questions or questions I wanted to ask to him. Mayor set to cut tunnel toll to just £1 for city region. The price of driving through the Mersey Tunnel is set to be slashed under plans from Metro Mayor Steve Rotherham. The city region leader is today bringing forward plans he made in his election manifesto to cut the price of single fast-tag journeys through the Kingsway and Queensway tunnels which connect Liverpool to Whittle. And this is from the Liverpool Echo, Wednesday, January the 23rd, and it's by Liam Thorpe. Those fast-tag journeys will drop from £1.20 to just £1 at all times of the day, every day of the year. Mayor Rotherham introduced a partial saving last year by dropping the fast-tag price to £1 at off-peak times, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Monday to Saturday and all day Sunday. He was criticised by some at the time for failing to deliver one of his key election pledges, but his new proposals, set to be agreed at the meeting of the Combined Authorities Transport Committee, will go the full way to delivering that pledge. The reduced toll is only available to people living in the city region, in Liverpool, Wirral, Halton, Knowsley, St Helens and Sefton, and could save those using the tunnels every day £400 a year. It's good news too for those who don't use a fast-tag. After last year's rise in the general toll from £1.70 to £1.80, Mayor Rotherham is proposing to freeze the price this year, meaning it's still 20p less per journey than the rise authorised by the Tunnels Act. The tolls for all other vehicles, including large vans, coaches and HGVs, will also be held at 2018 rates, ranging from £3.60 to £7.20 based on the weight of the vehicle. Mayor Rotherham said, if approved, this will be the lowest tunnel toll for over 25 years. Nobody likes having to pay to use the tunnels, but they are a critical element in the city region's infrastructure, and we do not receive any central government funding to effectively operate, maintain and upgrade them. During the 2015 general election, the then Chancellor promised that we would receive national funding for the tunnels, but this has not been forthcoming. We have asked government to take the tunnels back into the national road network, but I don't see any sign of that happening. Until this happens, I will continue to work to keep the tolls as low as possible, especially for city region residents. And
here's the second article about Mayor Rotherham, and it's titled New Metro Mayor Tax to Cost Region £7.6 million a year. And this article is by Alistair Horton and Liam Thorpe on Friday, January the 18th. People across the entire Liverpool city region will have to pay a new Metro Mayor tax to help pay for Steve Rotherham, his team, and what they want to do. The region's top politician, who was elected in 2017, has put forward plans to charge all residents in Liverpool, Wirral, Knowsley, Sefton, St Helens and Halton an extra payment on what they already pay in council tax in order to raise an added £7.6 million each year. He says the precept is needed to cover the running costs of his office, but will mainly go towards allowing the combined authority he runs to develop and deliver initiatives around jobs, skills, transport, housing, economic development and superfast digital connectivity across the region. Mayor Rotherham's election in 2017 started a new era and created a brand new role, with powers that had never previously been held by a politician in this region. And with a brief covering large-scale strategic sectors like economic development and transport, it has been hard to show quick, tangible results for his efforts, meaning there are still plenty of people who aren't entirely sure who he is. He said he had been forced to do this because of a lack of cash from government, stating, "We receive no ongoing government funding for the running costs of our combined authority, and so we have no option but to ask residents to contribute. However small, we know that this is an added burden, and so have kept that contribution as low as possible. For 95% of residents, it will be no more than 32 pence per week. I have repeatedly lobbied for proper central government funding, but so far without success. In the face of continuing austerity, we cannot expect our 6 local authorities to carry on funding this combined authority. We are now delivering real benefits to the people of the Liverpool City region. The combined authority has already approved £400 million in funding for projects which will create 9,000 jobs and 5,500 apprenticeships. We recognise this is an additional cost, but it will pay dividends. Based on our performance so far, the precept will enable us to bring in up to an additional £600 of funding per household per year. While the combined authority can bring in hundreds of millions of pounds to spend in the region, it's not actually allowed to use any of that money for its own running costs, hence the new charge. This is the amount Steve Rotherham will ask Liverpool City region residents to pay in an extra tax based on the property they live in, if his proposals are agreed. Band A, £12.67. Band B, £14.78. Band C, £16.89. Band D, £19. Band E, £23.22. Band F, £27.44. Band G, £31.67. And lastly, Band H, £38. Mayor Rotherham said just 4% of the extra tax cash will cover the running costs of his office, while 96% of the money raised will enable the combined authority to develop and deliver its initiatives. Mayor Rotherham said, "The reason we've got a combined authority is to do things that individually we've not been successful at previously. The reason I believe that Greater Manchester has got a tram is because they've had 10 local authorities working together for decades, and we've not had that. And now we've got 6 local authorities working together like never before, and we think we'll see the tangible benefits for the 1.6 million people in our city region of that. But it still doesn't mean that I enjoy in any way, shape or form the fact that we're having to introduce a precept which will mean that people will have to pay about £1 a month." He added, "I understand that people don't really know enough about the combined authority or about what the Metro Mayor does, because it's a fairly new post. And really, it's down to the likes of you and radio and TV to promote the platform so that we can tell people what it is that we do." He said his team's achievements include introducing half-price travel for apprentices, creating 9,000 jobs, and putting a £6 million fund together for the region's high streets. He also pointed to a pioneering project that is helping to get 800 families with long-term unemployed members to get back into work. The Metro Mayor priorities and budget proposals will be considered by the combined authority at its meeting on Friday,
This is some good news by
February the 1st.
Liam Thorpe. It says, Mayor confirms defeated housing scheme is dead. And is dead is in inverted commas. Mayor Joe Anderton has responded to his council's dramatic defeat over Calderstones Park by stating that the housing scheme he had backed in the area is dead. The city mayor confirmed that any plans to build on an area of the Harthill estate would now not happen, and said he would now work to enshrine the area as part of the South Liverpool Park to avoid any future development plans. Yesterday, High Court Judge Mr Justice Kerr found in favour of those campaigning against the council's plans to allow Redrow to build 51 houses on the land, and quashed 2 planning applications that had been granted by the authority's planning committee. The Save Calderstones Park petition and the LOGS campaign group had amassed more than 50,000 signatures in opposition to the plans and raised £40,000 to take it to the judicial review that found in their favour. Speaking to the Echo, Mayor Anderson said he fully accepts the decision and said the housing scheme is now dead. But he said his support for the scheme came from wanting to support the organisations currently occupying the land in question, like Beachley Riding Stables and the Miniature Railway. Mayor Anderson said, "The result is the result. I think it's important for people to reflect on why we did what we did. That was simply because we had no money to support Calder kids. We've moved them into new facilities and supported them financially. And Beachley Stables, both of them were in need of support and infrastructure improvements, and we've given them tens of thousands of pounds. What I've consistently said is that we won't force anyone into doing something that they don't want to do." He also brought his former Deputy Mayor Anne O'Byrne into the debate, pointing out that she was supportive of the previous plans for the Miniature Railway and Stables to move to new sites as part of the Redrow scheme. Councillor O'Byrne has since quit Major Anderson's cabinet and came out in support for the Save Calderstones campaign. She tweeted, "We need to listen and learn from this defeat. It's right to look at rebalancing the council tax base to provide a fit mix of affordable homes and investment for front-line services. We must bring our communities with us as we do this." Asked if he regrets entering the legal battle, he said, "If people listen to the explanation, it was in good faith. I'm not stupid. I'm a politician, and I know people will say he's made a mess of it, or he's got it wrong. That's fine. I'll live with that. The reality is, I think over the last couple of months, I've made it absolutely clear that if the riding stables didn't want to move, then the scheme was dead." He added, "What the judicial review does is make it absolutely clear that the City Council was wrong. The applications were wrong. We accept that. And I want to assure people that from my point of view, there will be no building on it. And we will go further than that. We are going to make sure that the land itself is going to be enshrined by us to be included in the park." But Mayor Anderson will continue to face awkward questions about his decision to proceed with the battle, with some of them coming in already from Liberal Democrat Councillor Richard Kemp. He said, "It has vindicated the approach which has been taken by the local Lib Dem team for 3.5 years and the excellent work done by the community group."
Now, this is an article
LOGS.
from the Top TV Topics, Switched On with Paddy Shannon, the man with the remote. And this is in the Echo, Friday, January the 18th. A centre we can and should all be proud of. The Walton Centre doesn't always get the attention it deserves, and the miracles that take place within its walls on a daily basis will have been a mystery to millions, but no longer, thanks to the second episode in the 4th series of Hospital, which was on BBC Two last night. That would be Thursday the 17th. Through the stories of 3 patients, Tom, Sophie and Michaela, we were given a flavour of how its supremely talented staff help improve and enrich lives while fighting a daily battle against under-resourcing. This is the country's only dedicated health trust for neurosciences, and it sees over 100,000 patients a year who have complex brain and spinal injuries. And it soon became clear that it doesn't come in for any special treatment. During what was obviously just another day in the NHS, we heard how only 1 female bed and 1 male bed were available when the centre needed to bring 8 patients in. Tom, 18, who was recovering from a brain injury suffered in a car accident and still had significant short-term memory loss, had been there for 4 months. Physically, he was fine and didn't want to be there. "I need to get out. I'm fed up with this beep," though he didn't know which hospital he was in. He was waiting to be transferred to a brain rehab unit for one-to-one treatment, which was no simple task. Cue much anguish as funding applications were made. Sophie, 22, had been in the centre for 9 months with a mysterious brain condition which affects her breathing and means she needs to be monitored 24 hours a day. Since January, she had had to be resuscitated 20 times. And we saw long-term patient Michaela, 30, who had excess fluid in her brainstem, undergoing complex surgery. It wasn't for the squeamish, but did underline that patients are in such good hands. In each story, there was so much that was uplifting. And once again, Hospital left us feeling so proud of our city's health workers.
This week's reading of a selection of local news from the Liverpool Echo. We thank them for permission to recording their materials, the Royal Mail for deliveries and fellow volunteers working on the LTN. When you finish listening to the USB stick, place it and the address card in the yellow postal wallet and return it to us. There is no postage to pay. Talking newspapers are covered by the Articles for the Blind free post concession. If you wish to contact us by phone, the office staff are only in office on Thursday and Friday mornings from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Otherwise, please leave a message on the answer phone. Our telephone number is 0151 486 1400. As most of you seem to prefer putting messages in the wallets, you may continue to do so. Our editors for the magazine, news and Christian news teams would welcome feedback from listeners. It would be helpful to know if we are providing the items which you enjoy. On behalf of everyone at the LTN, goodbye.
Goodbye.
And don't blame us for the news. We just have to report what we get. Bye-bye.